Today we learn all you need to know about semantic HTML. Usually the basic template of a web page consists of a header, a main section and a footer. The header usually contains the head content of your website, so basically navigation bar like the nav bar. And for example, if you take a look at a company website, you oftentimes have a video or an image on the top that basically shows what the company is doing, for example. And that usually belongs in the header as well. The main section usually contains the main content, so the main information that you want to share with the user. So that could be, if you think about a blog post, that could be the blog post, for example. And then finally you have a footer on pretty much every website that includes basic information like the contact us information, a phone number, a street, a city, and so on. So all of that basically goes into the footer. Now you can further subdivide these sections with certain elements, and I'm going to introduce you to those elements. The first element that is pretty important is the nav element, which, as the name already implies, basically is the nav bar or wraps the nav bar. Inside of this nav element, we could, for example, create a nav bar now by using an unordered list, then a list item, and now inside of this list item we can create a link that, for example, points to our home page, which could be our index.html. So basically this page. Let's say that is our home page, and now we can copy this link tags and create two more nav elements, and let's say the second one goes to an about us page and the third link goes to a contact page. Obviously we didn't create those pages yet. We have a contact page, so we can create that one, but we don't have an about us page. But usually you could obviously add an about us page as well, and then this link would redirect to the about us page and this link would redirect to the contact page. So this is basically a nav bar, and usually the nav bar goes inside of the header. Now when it comes to the main content, if you think about like a website that basically introduces the user to cameras, for example, you could use a section, and a section is used to group related content inside of the main area. So let's imagine we have a section right here, and inside of the section we have an H2, for example, that says my favorite cameras. So this section basically groups all of my favorite cameras. So we could actually also create a second section, and this second section could, for example, include the worst cameras. So now I have one group for my favorite cameras, and now I have another group for the worst cameras, in my opinion. And in this group I could, for example, list all of my favorite cameras. So every camera should basically go inside of an article, because an article is a self-contained piece of content like a blog post or a post about a camera, for example. A post about one single camera or information about one single camera goes inside of an article because it is basically a short article about one single camera, and those articles all together make up one section because all of those articles, all of those single cameras are part of my favorite cameras. Hope that was a good explanation. So I could go here and create an article tag to group one article, and right here I could use an H3 tag, for example, and say my first favorite cameras, maybe the Fujifilm X-T3, for example. Then I could like create a short paragraph including maybe 30 words, and now I have an article that includes my first favorite camera, which is the Fujifilm X-T3, and I have a little bit of text about it. So I could go here and take this article and create a second article inside of my section, because I obviously have more than one favorite camera. So I could also have the Sony camcorder as another camera that I really like. So now I have two cameras inside of my favorite camera section, and both of these cameras go inside of an article. Now I could obviously go here and take this article and paste this article into my section, second section as well. I could change maybe the names, so this could be the XT4, for example, and yeah, this could be whatever. It doesn't really matter. I hope you get the idea. And now You might also want to give the user the possibility to buy this camera on Amazon, for example. Maybe you're an affiliate and you want to make some money by redirecting the user to Amazon, whatsoever, it doesn't really matter. But the link does not really contain to the content, if you want to say, because the link is like not really any information that the user needs, and the information also does not really belong to the content. So it's more or less something that is aside from the content. So here you can use the aside tag, because this is like side information, like sidebar or related links, as you can see. So we can use the aside tag right here, and inside of this aside tag we can, for example, create a link, and this link redirects wherever, and in our case we say get the Fujifilm X-T3, for example. And now we have a link right here where we could click basically on, maybe get redirected to Amazon or wherever, and buy the Fujifilm X-T3. So this is basically the purpose of the aside tag. Now let's get to the footer, which is usually on the bottom of your web page and usually contains links to, for example, a contact form, or includes copyright information or a phone number, whatsoever. So we could, for example, create a paragraph here, say add copyright 2K25, then we could add a phone number, say phone : +49176, doesn't really matter, and so on. So we can like create content that basically usually goes in the footer, that does not really belong to the main content and does also not belong into the header. So basically just some side information that some people might need, but content that does not really belong to the main content and is not really necessary for the purpose of the page, to be honest. And this is the basic structure of every web page if you work with HTML.